There's a corner of Europe that hides some of the most chilling mysteries that have been recorded since the time of the Roman Empire. Although it's a rather small territory, it has some of the most amazing legends in the world, and most of its folklore creatures continue to enjoy great popularity even today. We are, of course, talking about a country that has become the nightmare machine, the home of the most terrifying creatures on the planet. And if you'd like to discover one of its less popular tales, but that may give you nightmares tonight, you'd better sharpen your senses and join us to meet the monstrous horses of Scotland. When most people think of Scotland, the first thing that comes to mind is related to some creepy creature like the Loch Ness Monster, an ancient legend describing a supernatural event or the sighting of something very similar to a nightmarish monster. The fame of this country has grown over time, and it's not unfounded. Scotland is a large land full of forest and landscapes worthy of a horror story. Its abundant nature makes it a gloomy place, and although technology has been changing this fact, its history shows us time and time again that yesterday is still present, even if it's camouflaged with buildings and shopping malls. Perhaps the most representative story of the oddities of this land can be found in an ancient legend of national folklore that has expanded over the years and is still more valid than ever. We speak of the wild and terrifying beast known as Kelpie, an infernal entity that has terrorized the inhabitants of the Scottish coast for centuries. According to the stories drawn from the traditions of various villages and communities, the Kelpie was born from sea demons. Its existence is focused exclusively on tormenting fishermen and any reckless person who dares to approach its waters at night. Generally, this monster attacks during the night, although most records agree that its peak of activity occurs at midnight. It's that time that the fearsome Kelpie is most active and lures people into the shallow waters, which are, naturally, its favorite territory for attacking. Most accounts agree that the Kelpie is a kind of water horse that waits for the right moment to drag its victims down to the depths. Only then does it lunge at them, and its weight pulls them underwater until it suffocates them. Since the appearance of this disturbing creature, the number of missing persons has increased steadily. We're talking about hundreds of people who vanished without a trace overnight and only reappeared weeks or even months later somewhere in the ocean with a purple face and too much water in their lungs. Those who have managed to survive an encounter with this creature claim that the beast shows no mercy. Its life consists of a permanent vigil. Time doesn't pass in the same way for it, as it only sits and waits with a Machiavellian coldness for the next victim to arrive. Some researchers of local folklore have related the Kelpie to the so-called night creatures, which include dark monsters that haunt people's nights and are capable of provoking the most perverse acts. Some can even incite suicide and insanity, but Kelpie's case is slightly different. Reports seem to agree that this sinister seahorse lures its victims, and once they enter its domain, they lose control of their consciousness and body. The control is absolute. Few can resist the voices hammering their heads and the whispers that urge victims to dive deeper and deeper into the water until it's too late. Apparently, there's never enough time to escape this fearsome creature. Only a lucky few managed to elude its spell, and according to their own testimonies, they did so just as they were about to lose consciousness. Most witnesses agree that it's a terrifying experience in which one loses all sense of the world. In some way that they cannot explain, the Kelpie bends any human will. The most chilling thing is that on many occasions, the victims suffer an absolute paralysis, in which they feel their body move and they even hear the sound of their own breathing. However, they perfectly know that nothing is happening willingly, but that a mysterious outsider is orchestrating their movements and dragging them to the depths of the sea. Due to the countless records and testimonies surrounding this creature, all sorts of research has been done to try to understand a little more about what's going on with this Scottish creature, but the answers haven't been too revealing. It's believed that the Kelpie can control minds and force people to perform its will. It has also been determined that it's capable of awakening people's worst fears, and although it may seem impossible, it's precisely this condition that keeps people going desperately seeking death at sea. Even so, when the inhabitants of these localities believed that the Kelpie couldn't be more tenebrous, it stopped adopting the forms of a horse and turned into other marine animals that managed to lure countless people into its trap. They could even turn into stunning women, similar to mermaids, who managed to seduce many travelers who paid the price of lust with their lives. Records of these events still survive in several of these coastal villages. Most of the elders still tell these stories, and occasionally some mysterious disappearance that ends in a chilling tragedy is discovered. The sea swallows the inhabitants of Scotland and spits them out with purple skin and lungs full of suffocating water. Of course, many people consider these to be nothing more than stories sustained in fables and legends, tales that only survive because of the superstition of the gullible. However, sometimes reason and logic aren't enough to explain the world of the unknown. What lies behind the reality can be chilling for many people. No one is prepared to look into the eyes of horror, but these people face the unexplainable and live to tell us about it. If you'd like to give their stories a chance and discover a little more about that world that can't be explained with words, you'd better join us in the following videos.